Hello, EDU 534. My name is Allison Presser. Today I'm going to talk to you about education in the United States and Finland. So as I've gone through the weekly readings and video resources, I feel that within the comparative education lens, there's a lot of common themes in the discussion of what makes a successful education system. And that is the role of the parent, the role of the teacher, and the role of school and society, along with some general attitudes in growing a culture of education. So first, I'm going to compare the role of the parent in both US and Finnish education. So it might seem odd to start at birth when examining an education system, but when looking internationally, you can see that it is kind of a big deal. So in Finland, parents are able to spend a lot more time with their children early on and are able to start fostering that interest and desire to learn from the beginning. So there's longer maternity leave, there's subsidized childcare, and students in Finland are just generally more prepared early on for their schooling to start happening. Also, parent involvement throughout a child's school career kind of lacks in the US for a lot of reasons, whether it's, busy schedules, or just parents that are uneducated and didn't finish school or didn't go to college and continue their educations, or just simply not pressing the issue. And in Finland, there really is a culture of education, and parents are really involved and push their children and encourage their children to be successful students. So now I'm going to move on to the role of the teacher. So in the United States, we're really focused on national and state standards and curriculum, and as a result, there's very little freedom within the content area when building lessons. In Finland, Finland gives teachers greater autonomy, which results in flexibility and creativity when lesson planning, along with a locally created curriculum that's ultimately more rewarding and fulfilling for students and teachers. In the US, teachers really do feel the pressure to teach to test because of the high stakes standardized tests, but in Finland there's only one standardized test, and it's at the end of the high school career. So teachers really do have a lot of freedom when it comes to what they teach. In the US, we're potentially doing a disservice to our students because of the large student to teacher ratio within a class. I know at my school we're capped at 35, and our school year starts next week and I have over 40 kids in my classes, which is just crazy for one person to take on. In Finland, there's multiple teachers to a much smaller class size, and each teacher focuses on something different. So some teachers focus on instruction and some focus on remediation. So that way there's a lot more time and ability to build relationships with students and focus more on personalization. When it comes to teacher preparation, in the US, teachers just need to have a bachelor's degree and complete a credential program. While in Finland, teachers have to have a master's degree, and they're way more prepared and trained. And because so much time has been invested into preparing for this career, teachers have a lot more buy-in. They're way more invested in their careers. Whereas in the US, most teachers only pursue a master's degree for pay scale advancement instead of that professional growth. One comparison I found really interesting is that Finland does not track their students, and I feel like in the United States that's kind of all we do, whether it's AP classes, honors classes, special ed, English learners. But in Finland, all students are held to those same high standards, even if they're in special ed. So special needs students, whether, advanced or with learning disabilities, or English learners or Finnish learners, they might have additional programs or supplements to their mainstream education, but generally there's a much bigger focus on equality in Finland than in the United States. General attitudes about education vary greatly between the states and Finland as well. Finland has really developed a culture of education in which the entire society feels that they have buy-in to this system. The goal is really to produce productive members of society. In the US, with the adaptation of Common Core, there's definitely more of a focus in getting kids both college and career ready, which is really a step in the right direction when it comes to preparing all students for the future. So in education, we love data. So of course it's important to see if Finland really is the best. And yes, they do have some of the highest comparative test scores in the world. However, lately the US is really, kind of upping our game, and we're not too far behind. But I think it's important to look beyond just test scores and examine other factors like student and teacher happiness, satisfaction, stress levels. There's a lot more that goes into producing a great education system than just test scores. So in conclusion, it's important to remember that there's really no one size fits all. So what might work in Finland might not be the best for the US, or even from state to state in the US. Things might not work for everyone. But it's important to remain reflective and reconsider our own best practices. And I always like to go back to what the Bible says in Romans 12:2, which says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." So we must always be willing to reflect, grow, learn, and change. Here's my reference slide. Lots of videos there, but also some text. So hopefully this was, enjoyable for you, brief, to the point, but gave you some more information about the US and Finland. Thank you for listening.